You are watching Jenny's Biblical Messages. My name is Jenny Malm, and today we are going to discuss Luke chapter 10, verse 19. This is a promise that Jesus gave his disciples as he sent them off 2 by 2 to preach the gospel. Jesus gives his followers divine authority to overcome spiritual evil. Okay, so I want to talk about this a little bit. Every morning, and I've said this in many of my messages, but every morning, and I just did it, I put holy oil on my forehead. I do it on my forehead because I started off asking for the mind of Christ. And as I've gone on, my prayer has expanded. So I ask for the mind of Christ. In that, I ask for many things. But one of the things is to have discernment, to know if people are good or if they're bad. If I am talking to some sort of a spirit that I want to know. If I am talking to an evil spirit, that I have divine authority from God to be in control of that conversation. I ask for that. I ask for it every day. If I am in a conversation with a demon, I ask you, Lord, I pray that I have divine authority over this conversation. Jesus gives his followers that divine authority. Nothing can harm us as we advance God's kingdom. Okay, I want to say that again. I want you to understand, and I want you to put this in your head. As you are a follower of Christ, as you are a disciple of Jesus Christ, nothing can harm you. The closer you get to Jesus, the more you listen to the Holy Spirit inside of you and you obey him, nothing can harm you. Obeying him is not a punishment. It's not. Obeying him, we obey him because he wants the best for us. He wants us to live the life that he has for us. Not the life that I have imagined for myself. Not the life that my parents imagined for me, but the life that God, our Father in heaven, put me on this earth to do. And when I follow him, I don't have to be afraid of anything. He gives me his divine protection in every situation. We are empowered for spiritual battle. That's what this life is. It's a spiritual battle. We think that we're fighting with people. We are not fighting with people. We are fighting with spiritual demons. And that's why I have been talking about Leviathan. Leviathan. I always get it tongue twisted. Ahab, Jezebel, Moloch. Those are the ones that I've talked about so far. I'm going to continue to talk about them because when we know these spirits and we recognize that we're talking to a spirit, we have that authority. And that's why I'm telling you today, you have authority. So what is Luke 10:19? It says, look, I have given you the authority. I have given you the authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and over all power of the enemy. Nothing will ever harm you. So why does he use snakes and scorpions? Do you come across a lot of snakes and scorpions? That is the words they are using to describe these spiritual demons. They're snakes, they're scorpions, they slither on the ground. They are trying to bite at your ankle, but Jesus is the heel that's over the snakes and the scorpion, and he stomps on those heels. Okay, I want to tell you a couple of things with this. This just came to me a reminder, but many years ago, not many, but 4 years ago, when I started my walk with the Lord, he gave me this vision, and it was Jesus and I dancing and laughing. Like literally we're like holding hands like this, and we're jumping around in like circles, and we're dancing and we're laughing, and I'm just seeing like the tops of us and running around, and we are just having like a great time. I just remember that the feeling that I had in this vision of being with Jesus and dancing with him and jumping up and down with him, and it was just like this elated excitement. It just was unlike anything that I've really ever felt in my life. Then I got the whole picture of this vision, and on the ground was the devil. He literally, this man, the pitchfork man, he's not a pitchfork man. He's just like you and I, and he comes inside of us. But in this vision, he was the pitchfork, red-faced, horns man under our feet, and we were not dancing. We were jumping up and down and trampling on him. But I was looking into Jesus's eyes, laughing, having the best time. He was with me. He was with me. He was holding my hands as I was trampling over the enemy. You are never left alone when you are with God. When you decide to walk in that walk, you are never alone. Okay, I want to tell you another story. My soon-to-be daughter-in-law had a bachelorette party this weekend, and I went out with them a couple of nights. So I went out on Friday night, and we went to a restaurant, and then we went to these couple of bars. Okay, so I'm not usually in bars like I used to be, but it's not like a normal thing for me in this part of my life. So I mean, I will have a couple of drinks sometimes, but I'm just not a drinker. I just don't care. So this particular night we were in this one bar, and it was this really cute bar, and the waitress was adorable, and the people that were there were all like, she was in white, and we were dressed up, and so we got a lot of attention. There was like 9 of us, I think. So we got a lot of attention where we were because we're with a bride, right? So so we go to this one bar, and it's a cute little place, and they have this VIP section, and the waitress says, would you guys like to go and sit in here? And I was like, well, how much is it? And she's like, no, it's free, you can come sit in here. And had this big like rounded or like moon like couch. And so we're sitting there, and we're just talking and kind of playing games and getting to know each other. And it was fun. It was mostly just us. Every once in a while, somebody would come up and say congratulations or, something. But for the most part, it was just us. Okay. So there were, how when, I know how I used to be when I was out drinking, and I was like, okay, we're done here. Let's go to this next place. Let's do this, and kind of want to jump around. And they had done their research of some different places that they thought were cool that they wanted to go to. So we end up at this other bar, and we are in downtown Fort Myers. Okay, so we end up in this other bar. And you go in, and it's super cute too. Like outside, inside, outside, we were outside. It was super cute. So when you look at it from the outside, or you look at it in the daytime or whatever, you're like, oh my gosh, that is super cute. Like, I would like to go there sometime. They probably have, I know they did have food and stuff too. So it was a bar restaurant, but it was later in the night now. And so the crowd completely is changing. And as we're going in there, I'm like kind of getting this feeling, and I'm like, okay, just kind of be on guard. It's fine. Get in there, and I just start looking at the people around us, and I was like, and I'm not saying this to be mean, but the people were ugly. And like ugly, yes, on the outside, but you could tell they were ugly on the inside. It was a completely different vibe than the first place. And I'm not saying that to like be mean or talk about somebody being ugly, because that's just not something that I do, and it's not something that I really notice. But as I was there, I'm just noticing this, and I'm like, okay, this is really strange. So we get a table, and I get up and I go to the bathroom, and I go by myself, and you go inside to go to the bathroom. And as I go inside, I notice there's only a few people there, but the people that are there, like, I felt very uncomfortable being there. Now, I have heard in classes and things, people talking about being feelers, that the Holy Spirit gives you. The Holy Spirit gives you these like powers and stuff, and these gifts, these spiritual gifts. And you can be a seer, a knower, a hearer, and a feeler. And I have felt like I've heard the Lord. I felt like He's given me visions. I definitely been in a situation where I'm like, I know that I know that I know that this is right, or I know that I know that I know that this is wrong, or, whatever. But this time I was actually feeling it, and I have never felt anything like this before in my life, ever, ever, ever. So we go in, I go to the bathroom, and then in the bathroom was the same way. Like, people were nice. Like, people are smiling, they're nice, they're giggling and stuff, but I just kept thinking, these people are just ugly. Well, it dawned on me, they're like ugly on the inside. You know what I mean? Like, that's what dawned on me. And so I go out and I go back, and I say to the bride's mom, I say, I don't feel comfortable here. Like, there's something going on here that's bad. Like, this is evil. This place is evil. I can feel it in my bones that this place is evil. And so unfortunately, I stopped the party for half of us, and the other half were like, just drunk enough and just enough, and I do not fault them because I used to be there, so I understand. And they're like, whatever. But I could not shake this feeling, and because I told this other woman that's more my age, and then there's these girls in their 20s, maybe a couple are in their early 30s, but she was like, she couldn't get that out, and she's like, I feel it too, this is awful, I want to leave. So unfortunately, I kind of dimmed the mood that night, as you could say. But I had never felt anything like that. And I realized, so I was very much on guard. I am just sitting there. I am on guard. I am on watch for our girls for this party. And I am just like, we can't let anything happen to them. Like, I'm afraid that somebody's going to spike their drinks. I'm afraid that somebody's going to try to kidnap one of them. They're gorgeous. I'm with these gorgeous women, and I'm just, not feeling comfortable. So anyways, the night was fine. Everything was fine. Everybody was safe. Everything was great. But just to have that feeling, and I just want you to know, the reason I'm telling you these two stories, one is a vision, one is something that actually happened in real life. So I became a seer and I became a feeler in this message that I'm giving you, to trust yourself. It's not your gut instinct. It's the Holy Spirit. It's the Holy Spirit that's telling you you are in danger. So, and because of that, we left a little, we didn't stay there very long. We got out of there, and not that I heard of anything on the news that anything happened that night at this place, but it just made me feel more comfortable to know that the people that I love were out of there. So I hope that this blesses you. I hope that you learned something. I went a little long today because I really felt the need to tell you these stories, and I hope that you guys have just a wonderful, fantastic, blessed day. Bye.